About 6.5 years ago, I made a video where I explained the importance of marriage takes one. Since then, I've seen dozens of marriage and relationship coaches talk about the importance of the man taking responsibility and stepping up, and you need to focus on yourself. The problem with that is that in order to transform a marriage, you need to understand the difference between marriage takes one and marriage takes two. When it is appropriate to use marriage takes one, what are the limitations on it, and when it is safe and when it is dangerous to use marriage takes two. And by the time you're done with this video, you'll have a better understanding of what you should focus on and what strategy you should use based on what is going on in your marriage. So let's start from the beginning. Ideally, a healthy marriage obviously takes two. You married another person because you wanted them to be involved. You wanted the love and the connection and the feelings to be reciprocal, mutual respect, deep emotional connection, mutually enjoyable intimacy, great conversations, fun time spent together, right? So you married in order to be with a second person. Ideally, in a healthy marriage, it's marriage takes two. There's a give and take between husband and wife, which makes the marriage fulfilling and meaningful and satisfying. In other words, what an ideally healthy marriage looks like. So, what it looks like is number one, her full heart is invested in the relationship. And number two, she appreciates your contributions, your efforts, your energy, your commitment, your love. And number three, she is consistent. In other words, her feedback on what you need to do in order to be able to fulfill her emotional and intimate needs is consistently helpful. Now, that might sound like a fantasy, but that is what's actually in a normal marriage. That is what is supposed to be in a healthy, vibrant, thriving relationship. But the reality is, when you need to transform the marriage, when the marriage is on the rocks, when there is deep frustration and bitterness, whether that frustration is mutual or whether that's coming just from your wife, the husband needs to step up and understand what marriage takes one means and adopt a philosophy of it is up to me. Now, the problem is that in most marriages, by the time the guy realizes that there is a serious problem with the marriage, his wife already has decided in her head that she's done. She's emotionally done trying. The bottom line is she cannot put her full heart into working on the marriage because she already believes that she did it. Now, she may have not formally decided that the relationship is over, but she may have withdrawn her heart from the relationship because she feels she already invested 5, 10, 15 years in the marriage and he missed her signals. He wasn't there. He was out to lunch. He was emotionally unavailable. He was checked out, selfish, fill in the blank. The bottom line is, whether it's true or not, right or wrong, she believes that she already tried. And therefore, you cannot involve her because even if you do push her and you pressure her and you logically convince her and explain to her, whether it's with yourself or through a therapist or a counselor, that you want her to be involved and you need her to be involved. And the only way for the relationship to move forward and to save the marriage and the family is by her being involved. The reality is, even if she forces herself to go through the motions, her emotions will not be present. She will not be fully invested. She will not be able to appreciate your effort, and she certainly will not be able to be consistent because her belief is that she already tried. And therefore, it is vital for you, the husband, to understand that. Now, to truly understand where she's coming from, we have to talk a little bit about marriage cancer. And I'm going to put a link to my marriage cancer video so you can go into a lot more depth and detail via that video. But in a nutshell, marriage cancer exists when the woman doesn't fully feel and trust your love 100%. The main core of that is because she is stuck with a wrong picture of you in her head. She has an image of you which is not really you. It may have been true, maybe to some degree true, but it's not really you. So she may have an image of you being selfish, manipulative, a controlling, angry, or emotionally disconnected person. And everything you're doing is being filtered through that image. Again, check out that video for more detail. The bottom line is, what is relevant for our training today is for you to understand that if that is present, you will not be able to involve her. And even if you get her to be involved on a physical level, on an external level, or a verbal level, you will not be able to engage her heart until you understand and heal the marriage cancer. Now, this is huge. This reason alone is sufficient why you should not be using the marriage takes two approach when she already believes that she invested her heart. You don't need any other reason. Let's go deeper. Even before marriage cancer sets in, when you're done with this video, check out the marriage cancer video so you have more context. You need to understand a basic thing about women. They want certain feelings met. So that she may want a feeling of safety, of intimacy, of connection, emotional stability. But women do not know what it is that you need to do in order for her to experience that feeling. That is why she will give you a list of things to do. She says, hey, if you do this list, we will be okay. The marriage will be okay. The relationship will be okay. If you only are more involved and more helpful and maybe do some more chores around the house and be more present for the kids, fill in the blank, then we will be okay. Now, if you're like most of my clients, you will have experienced having done her list. You go through the list line by line, you do the list, only to find out a few weeks or a few months later that you didn't do it correctly, or she blames you for something new, or the whole list shifts. There's a whole shift going on, and now there's a whole new list that you didn't know about. Now, if you don't understand it, you can look at it like she's just being inconsistent and unreliable. And on some level, that might be true from a man's standpoint, but from a woman's standpoint, you're just not hitting the feeling. And she doesn't know what it is that you actually need to do in order for her to experience that feeling until she experiences the feeling of, again, I gave some basic examples, but there are really hundreds of feelings. But let's say on a basic level, to feel safe. So she'll keep on being frustrated and agitated. And at some point, she may even shut down and stop giving you feedback because she doesn't trust you to understand what she's saying. Essentially, she really wants you to figure it out on her own. And if you're lucky enough to have a wife who has actually said it to you, I want you to know what you need to do. I don't want to have to explain it to you. You should be a man. You should know. I shouldn't have to explain this to you, and I certainly shouldn't have to explain it to you again and again. But from a man's standpoint, this is a very frustrating thing. But if you can go deep enough and really see that what she's looking for is a feeling, you then understand, okay, that is why I need to step up. That is why marriage takes one. That is why it's up to me. Because if she's so frustrated, besides the fact that she has given up and feels she already invested her heart, she doesn't even know what to say in a way that's actually helpful. It's not a judgment. She actually doesn't know. So what happens if you do try to involve her or you drag her to counseling? And there's a bunch of reasons why counseling doesn't work, and I'll put a link to that video as well for you to check out. But in a nutshell, a lot of the mistakes that happen in counseling and the resulting disconnect between husband and wife is a direct result of the marriage takes two philosophy, because they're completely violating the reality that she's actually done. So they're treating her like an equal partner, which automatically results in equal blame or pointing fingers, even if you don't want to blame. And that ends up being a death blow to the marriage. So let's talk about blame for a second. We just spoke about you doing her list. You try to do her list. Ask yourself, did you try genuinely and authentically to do her list and complete the things that she said, or to accomplish or make sure to take care of the things that she said she wants you to do, whether those things are things around the house or whether they're things in your personality or your personal development or what she wanted you to study and learn and to become in order to be the man and the husband that she needs you to be? If you're like the men who I've helped, you will have learned that doing the list doesn't help you. It actually exhausts you. Sadly enough, it ends up undermining the marriage more because it creates more frustration and bitterness. It creates more areas of misunderstanding, disagreement, and conflict, which then results in more blame and frustration, even if you're self aware enough to know that resentment is unhealthy and deadly to your relationship. But if you feel it, even if you make believe it's not there and you don't express it verbally and you don't say or do anything that gives energy to it, but she's going to feel that energy. Women are incredibly intuitive in that sense, and she's not going to feel your love. That's on a simple level. No matter what strategy you use, you will not be able to effectively capture her heart consistently if she doesn't feel your love. And if you're living in resentment and bitterness and frustration, she is going to feel it. Women are really, really smart when it comes to this emotional arena. Another area is when this exhausts you, you eventually start losing energy. You have less energy to do the things that she says because you feel that the feedback she's giving you is not helpful, which just feeds a cycle of blame and ultimately just takes the marriage one step and another step closer to the point of no return. Another danger of the marriage takes two philosophy when you have marriage cancer is that if she's stuck with the wrong image of you, very often, once you start working on the marriage and trying to lead and transform the relationship, she will feel on some level your desperation. And when you try to involve her, which means that you're asking her for feedback on a regular basis to find out how well you're doing, you're actually communicating weakness, whether you like it or not, because you're basically telling her, I don't really know what I'm doing. You're not saying those words, but your emotional energy is saying, I'm not really sure if what I'm doing is helping you. Can you please give me feedback so I can know if the changes I'm making actually make a difference to you? Now, while there's certainly a time and a place to get feedback from her, that is in the marriage takes two phase. Before that, you must make changes in yourself, in your personality, and in your relationship, in the way you communicate with her by yourself without getting her feedback, which will give her this validation and the safety to truly understand that the man that she's speaking with is different and radically different in a positive way from the man that she got used to having around. But remember, the root of the marriage cancer, she's stuck with the wrong image of you. And if the image of you starts becoming desperate, then she filters all the effort you're making and all the good intentions you have through that image, and she will not register it. She will not understand it. She will not appreciate it. She will not feel your love, and she will not trust your changes. And if you haven't yet seen my subconscious communication video, that is a vital video for you to understand when I talk about the image, how real that is, how active it is, and how you really cannot move forward with any type of marriage transformation without understanding and respecting that reality. And again, I'll put a link to the subconscious communication video under this video. So, how do you know if you belong in the marriage takes one philosophy? On a very simple level, you're exhausted. Her feedback is not helpful, and you're starting to go through the phase of doing everything she says, but then you kind of give up, or you're doing it, but you're bitter. Your heart is starting to disconnect from it because you suspect that it's just a matter of time before she changes the list on you, and you discover that whatever you did wasn't really making a difference to her. And remember, the core issue over here is she's not talking to you, she's not relating to you, she's not processing what you're doing right now. She's filtering everything based on the past. And until you truly understand that, you cannot move towards the marriage takes two strategy, which there is a place for involving her and the process of marriage takes two. And if you want to see more details on that, check out the 5 phases of building emotional intimacy in your marriage. But in the beginning, on a basic level, you really have to understand that it really starts with you. And it starts with you in a very real way. And when I say it starts with you, I'm not talking about just focusing on yourself like hundreds of marriage coaches talk about. Just focus on yourself and don't worry about her. That doesn't work because even if she sees the changes in you, she'll say, okay, good for you. You're changing, but it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm still stuck where I am. And you're lucky if she even expresses it in that way. Most women won't even say it to that degree. They'll just stay stuck without even admitting it. But here's a simple truth. In order to heal your marriage and move forward, she needs to talk about the past. She has to be able to download the past and see how you process it. Do you truly understand her? And if the changes you're making right now are something that's reliable and safe for her, something that provides a solid foundation for her emotionally and intimately, on which she and you and the relationship can move forward. But unfortunately, most coaches ignore this part and they just say, work on yourself. And there may be some truth in working on yourself, but it has very little to do with turning around your marriage. Now, understanding the difference between marriage takes one and marriage takes two is so important. If you have marriage cancer and you need to do marriage takes one philosophy and you use marriage takes two, you will actually undermine and ruin even what would be objectively good strategy. So let's say, for example, the 5 love languages. In theory, it might work. It does not work when there's marriage cancer because she is stuck with the wrong picture of you in her head. So even if you do identify her love language, if she's stuck with the wrong picture of you and she believes you're selfish or she believes you're manipulating her, even if you identify her 1 or 2 love languages, and even if those love languages never shift, she still doesn't want that love language fulfilled by you. So she may want quality time or physical touch or words of affirmation, but not from you. Now, in theory, if you guys were on a solid basis and your relationship was a much healthier one, the 5 love languages would be interesting conversation. It wouldn't solve your problems, but it would at least generate conversations so you can actually talk about it. But you need to know how to handle those conversations. That's the next step. But on an earlier phase, in the beginning, when she's stuck with the wrong picture of you in her head, the 5 love languages should never be tried. Again, another great example where the difference between marriage takes one and marriage takes two is not just like, hey, two different flavors. It's a difference between success and failure. By the way, even when you're doing the marriage takes two approach, even then the five love languages don't work unless you know how to work those conversations about the love languages and to navigate sensitive conversations. And most importantly, to be able to pick up the correct nuances from what she's saying. But when you're using a marriage takes one strategy, there are certain skills you have to do before you engage her. But when you need to turn around your marriage by yourself without involving her, the only way you're going to be successful is number one, if you have an attitude and an absolute commitment to understanding the patterns as opposed to getting stuck on the symptoms. So the symptom might be she served you divorce papers, she's giving you silent treatment, she wants space, she moved out, she's having an affair, fill in the blank. So, number one, you have to be genuinely committed to understanding the patterns. Number two, you have to care about her happiness. If your goal is just to get her back, but your goal is not for her to truly remain and be happy, everything you're going to do is going to end up being on some level manipulation. And she's going to see right through it pretty quickly. Number three, you have to care about what's going on internally, how she's seeing you, how she's reading you. The picture of you, which is stuck in her head, is literally the gate that controls and determines everything else that's going to happen and the interactions and the conversations between you and her. And the subconscious communication video link under this video will help you understand that even better. But that is vital in order for you to succeed with the marriage takes one philosophy. And number four, you have to really care about becoming your best version. You're making these changes for yourself because if the skills that you're learning, whether it's identifying the patterns or seeing the picture which is stuck in her head, if you're just doing it for the marriage, you're not really doing it because you genuinely care about it for yourself, because you want to become a better person, a better man, a better father, a better husband, a better business owner. If it's not something that you're truly looking to change at your core, it's going to be short term. It's going to be, again, perceived as manipulation. It's not going to enable her to truly trust that your changes are real and that you're going to be consistent and that you're going to be stable and emotionally consistent for her. If that's really you and you want to explore how to move forward with a marriage takes one philosophy and you want to have a chat with me, you can click a link under this video. When I say me, I mean really me, not somebody on my team, but actually me, David. You'll see 15-minute spots available. You'll be able to share and discuss with me what is going on in your marriage and get some feedback and recommendations from me on what will be the next appropriate steps for you. Now, if you've gained clarity and if you've gained anything from this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments below and let me know how this video helped you. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.